This week, sponsored by Hazelnut Butter Dark Chocolate Bites
Who?
and Poppy.
Mm.
You guys, I get down to these. I know it's kind of sacrilegious to not be ripping a Diet Coke, but are you guys ripping the poppies and whatnot? All
I'm
the
a
pop?
Poppy guy. I do like Poppy. I haven't bought it in a while.
You just I always got to try.
They're pretty
Always,
good. They're pretty. I
yeah.
like them for like my daily soda, and then like DP and Diet Coke
So
are like my guilty pleasure.
the only way they got oh, who's the guy from Two and a Half Men? What's his name?
Charlie Sheen.
The only way they got Charlie Sheen off of crack was by lowering the dosage, and that is what I think Olipop has done for me. Is it's lowered the dosage.
Do this? Yes, I am. All right, 2, 3, 4. Basketball, gimme the ball because I'm gonna dunk it.
Lowered the dosage, and I'm not as fiend into Diet Coke, even though I still relapse from time to time, but as do
Yeah.
we all.
Then the
All right.
relapses just get harder.
Speaking of
Yeah.
diet sodas, Evan, talk to us about your Ole Miss LSU trip as your dad flew you guys down to the deep south, to Tupelo, home of Elvis Presley. Walk
Yeah.
us through the weekend. We might have to throw some imagery into the podcast here, but excited to hear how it was.
Well, I mean, definitely a memorable weekend, man. I mean, we woke up at about 6 a.m., grabbed a couple McDonald's Sammys for the plane, and we were off.
Dude, that's
We
all. Wait, was everyone eating McDonald's sandwiches, or is this?
This was just my dad and I because we had to
Okay.
fly. We had to fly from Iowa to Mattoon, Illinois, not far from
Okay.
Champaign, actually. There was
Yep.
a lot of guys that worked at that airport gearing up for the Illini game later in the day, and so we landed. These guys, it was red out at the Ole Miss game, so I got handed a shirt. So immediately had all the Ole Miss garb on, which felt weird, but I kind of
All
had to
right.
be a part of it for the day.
Yep.
Um, and then it was only about 45 minutes down to Tupelo from there. A little bit of a drive into Oxford, and then honestly, like not a lot of traffic, but like everyone was already there in the Grove. And so
Yeah.
once we got dropped off in the Grove, um, man, people dress up for those games. It's a different feel. Um, but the Grove itself, it does feel like you're kind of trapped. Like you're truly in this.
You're in the throws.
You're in this forest.
How's it compared to like Iowa City? It's just like a little bit more
You know,
compact.
I mean, Iowa City's like kind of neighborhoods and
Yeah.
backyards and parking lots, right? Whereas it truly is like everyone, it's actually university like
Yeah.
sponsored. They
Yeah.
sell out all these tents and they'll actually set up a bunch of stuff for you, like if you buy a spot.
Nice.
Um, and there's just like a million tents inside this grove. And I thought the coolest thing, I've never seen anything like it. You guys probably know about it a little bit. They have the Walk of Champions. And so we had a tent right next to the Walk of Champions where Lane and the boys, they all get dropped off and they walk right through and kind of high five everybody, like, you know,
Yeah.
mingling with all the drunk people basically.
Yeah.
And that's like their walk into the stadium 2 hours ahead of time. And then you get to kind of do that walk when you then go into the stadium. You kind of follow the same path, which is kind
And
of
that's
You
for
too
that's
could
for
be a
both
champion.
teams, right?
what's that?
That's both teams that are doing the walk.
No, just Ole Miss. Ole Miss.
Okay, just Ole
If
Miss.
if you sent LSU through there, there'd be beard
I
cans.
I thought that that would
Really
be
bad.
that's probably a
Yeah.
good call.
Yeah. But man, I knew it was a big rivalry, but those two schools really hate each other, man. Yeah, I got to say
Yeah.
it firsthand. We had some pretty awesome seats. We were like 4 rows up. Um, of course, the B2 flyover was awesome. Yeah, I mean, and I don't know if you guys watched the game at all. Like, super competitive game. I thought LSU was super underwhelming. Or I don't know if
Under 60 yards rushing. That was only my
yeah,
only note from it.
and that's been a problem for him all year. It just
But don't
hasn't.
you dare ask Brian Kelly about it.
Yeah, you could tell Garrett Nussmeier he's hurting. Like he's not 100%. Trinidad Chambliss looks awesome, coming up from the D2 ranks, the Ole Miss quarterback. And yeah, man, I really felt, I don't know, I felt ingrained into the community there. And just also just a wild way to get in and out of I felt like I was in a time machine, transported to a different world and then back in the same day. So
Yeah. So what time are you home by that night?
yeah, we landed about after Ole Miss won, like, you know, the guys we were with, they'd had a couple pops,
Yeah.
as you could imagine.
Yeah. Why wouldn't you?
And they were like, we're gonna stay after, like we're gonna tear this thing down. And so we didn't actually leave until like about 3 hours after the game. Um, we didn't get home till about midnight, which, it's not too long of a
Not crazy.
commute, but it was
All
a long day for sure.
all well worth it.
Yeah. But yeah, man, would do it again. Super cool place to go see a game. Yeah.
But you're seeing them at the peak of Ole Miss football right now.
I know, man. Yeah, I don't think have they ever been ranked this high? I know they're up to 4 now, maybe. Um, but yeah,
I
vibes
don't
are
know about
super
that.
high, and I
If
don't
it has,
know.
it's probably been under Kiffin.
Yeah, right. And Lane, Rob sent this in our group chat, but Lane just fully embracing this thing with his daughter. Um, Whit Weeks, his daughter's boyfriend, was puking on the field, which I saw firsthand. And what did he say? He said, like, how do you prevent this? And or how does this
Or
happen
what
to
did
a
you what
D1
did you
player?
feed him before the game?
Oh, what'd you feed him for the game? And he just said tempo. Yep. And he was doing it all day. So pretty
Well,
sweet.
I feel like it was a fun matchup. I mean, seeing, two southern schools going at it, it's good fun for everybody.
Oh yeah.
Let's bring it back to the north though. Illini Bob, congratulations on a nice dub. I had to have a
Back
dub.
back from the dead. It was an exciting game, back and forth. Just what you want to listen to in my case in the tractor. So I got to watch all the highlights later, but it was a lot of fun to listen to. Uh, One funny thing that I had kind of taken away from this is the USC fan base is just as delusional out west as any other Big Ten fan base is, rightfully so. Right? They do have a lot of history, but it's fun to see them go up in flames after a loss, even to a good Illinois team. I think they see a lot of helmets and think they're better than them in the Big Ten. Uh, Huge game for Luke Altmaier, 20 for 26 passing, 328 yards, 4 touchdowns, including two in the air and then one rushing, and then he actually caught one as well. So, first time a Big Ten player's done that in a long time. O line got back up after, you know, whatever happened the week before. And for USC, Makai Lemon, that guy is just an animal. He's going to make a lot of money in the NFL someday.
With a name like that,
Great name. Katie was in the tractor, and he just has the coolest name,
there you
and
go.
he's just a stud athlete. So
Beast.
Robbie, did you feel like I feel like your ancestors probably, your grandpa was in the tractor listening to some game back in the day. So I'm sure it's a little full circle to be listening to a fall game. If it wasn't, not the Cardinals or something, but it was listening to a game in the tractor's got to feel pretty, your
yeah,
generations are looking upon you.
especially one as exciting as this one. And they did go down with like a minute and a half left. It was their first time USC had won all game, and never had a doubt Luke Altmaier's 8th career game-winning drive. So that guy is Mr. Clutch.
There you go. Well, that's
Uh, and
that's good.
I just have a question for Bob on that one. Do you feel like listening or watching it in the tractor it increases your blood pressure more in a game like this, or do you think it levels it out a little more and like allows you to kind of, I don't know, maybe think about other things at the same time?
Maybe a little bit more leveled in the sense that, if there's a call maybe I don't agree with, or I can't see it, so I can't really complain. Where if you
Right.
see something on TV it's maybe a little bit more upsetting versus in my case, you watch the highlights after the game and see, oh man, that was a bad call there, but
Yeah.
all
How
good
many
after a win. So
how many Diet Cokes and coffees had you had at that point in the day? I'm sure you were pretty
who
riled up.
knows? Who knows?
Can
You got
you
to have a
count?
celebratory Diet Coke after the game too. So
Amen. Amen. And then you have to have a celebratory one after getting done farming, and
yeah,
you gotta stock up. All right, let's flip it back to Ev. Ev, our Hawks took a loss. Um, it seemed a little closer. Good teams beat the spread, but not
Yeah.
the money line. So what do you know?
Yeah. I like Bob was I had no service in this stadium. So I was pretty much relying on cryptic texts from a couple friends and I yeah, man, it just seemed like all the makings of a perfect Kinnick Stadium, Iowa upset, It had it all except
Yeah.
the end.
they had the chance with the kick though, at least.
They did, yeah, and but I mean, the game couldn't have started any worse. It sounds. I went and watched it back, and the game couldn't have started any worse with that pick, and then a quick score from Indiana. But then they pretty much held Indiana for 58 minutes, for the most part. Gave up a late score at the end of that first half, which was tough. Didn't need to give that one up, and then yeah, I mean that pick that Lutmer had towards the end of the game, it just felt kind of like a season defining play that didn't end up being one, I guess. Obviously missed the kick. Um, and then, you got to give credit to Mendoza. He kind of hung in there. He made some incredible throws throughout that game and, one being that slant and touchdown to end it. Um, he also had a nice little cover at the end for the people that got it at 6.5. So gave him a free one
Legendary.
there. Yeah, yeah. Um,
So
but yeah,
so this it kind of reminds me in fantasy football this week. It didn't end up mattering, but I got my defense in fantasy football got negative points because of a safety that occurred. And I go, how's that supposed to work? Because they're not controlling that. And I'm tying this together in the sense of Iowa's defense can only do so much. If they're scoring, they held them to 7 for most of the game if you don't factor in a pick six, right?
yeah,
So how are you supposed to, it's just a hats off to Iowa's defense at home,
yeah,
where it's just like I don't know how Phil Parker does it in the sense that I would just lose my top if I just only, I did my job for years and just, you can't win big games.
yeah,
And Phil Parker's job is to do it with hopefully at least a closer game and just can't,
yeah.
that's casual fan here, but that's my takeaway is it's just so hard to,
He, you know,
that's not how Iowa wins is from behind. It's you get up a
yeah,
little bit or keep it close.
exactly. He called a hell of a game, and what's funny? It was a very different game than he normally calls. Iowa usually doesn't blitz a whole lot. They usually are like maybe 30% blitz. Kind of a fun stat. They were at 70%. They were sending at least one person.
It's in the
Um,
house.
and I think that bit him on that last touchdown that Indiana got, but it also kind of got you there. So
Yeah.
you can't
You
really
can't
fault
blame
him.
that.
You got to
Yeah.
make a play. Yeah. So
Illini Bob, you got any commentary on it?
Mendoza's a great quarterback. He's going to make great plays. And yeah, Iowa's defense did what Iowa defense does. My big comment on it is really just looking ahead. I know they're sitting at 3-2 right now, but you take care of Wisconsin, a Wisconsin team that they should take care of, and you have Penn State coming in the week after that. Hopefully, it's a night game in Kinnick, and Penn State has not played up to expectations.
hmm
so far this year, it could be a huge opportunity for a top 10 win going forward. So that was my big takeaway is they they've shown through their defense they can at least hang around with even the most explosive of teams.
We got to
Speaking of
get
which,
Mark back healthy too. Yeah, hopefully he's
yeah.
good.
Speaking of which, I did call that the Ducks were going to take that one last week. I was a little like, I'll believe in the experience, but I said, you know what? Penn State doesn't win big games, and they showed it again. They got close. But they didn't. Do you guys have any hot takes real quick? Just kind of rolling through this one.
I don't really have a hot take, but it's amazing to watch how many big games, and it's not even just about James Franklin, but now Drew Aller, like, just makes the defining play to end the game. He did it against Notre Dame last year. Um, he threw a pick at the end of this one. It just kind of like, how does this keep happening? You know?
Robbie, I think Robbie, you were the one that was saying that you want to see is it LSU versus Penn State to start the season next year.
I think that would be. I think that would be fun, especially Brian Kelly. I think is 1-6 in his last 7 opening day games. So I think that'd be a lot of fun. Neither can win the big one. So
I like that. Let's test it. I mean, for Penn State, I think they have enough money and enough of a program where they can get a new coach in there. If you're not winning the big games, I don't know. They just seem like Robbie, you might think differently there, but it does seem like this could be one where I get that if you have a good program rolling, you don't want to chop it up. Their season isn't over. They lost to a good team, but there is a ceiling.
My only comment on that is there is a team known as the Nebraska Cornhuskers that did fire a coach after never winning less than 9 games, and they haven't won 9 games since.
Chicago Bears, Lovie Smith. It's kind of hard to fire a coach that has a winning, but
you are always closer to the bottom than you think you are, and further from the top. That's just the way that
I like it. I like it. We'll see how Iowa basketball fares in that one. Same story. Firing decent coaches. It's kind of a recipe for disaster. But I think Penn State's on the same trajectory that they've been on for years, and will continue on that. We'll see. Rolling to Virginia, Florida State. It sounded like was there part of the game that you want to talk about, or you want to just talk about the storming?
Virginia hung in there. That was fun. That was just a fun football game to watch. It didn't matter if you were a fan of either team. And I know it didn't end the way Florida State fans maybe would have wanted it to, but especially for a Friday night before such a great Saturday slate, what a perfect appetizer. I mean, that was like the French onion soup of Friday night games.
It was. Yeah. And not that I expected either to be that way. Maybe more so the ASU game. I expected to be tighter, but yeah, that was there was some voodoo magic going on in Charlottesville. There's no doubt. And how that hill that they have there, it just
so fun.
Those students were waiting for.
I've never seen anything like that. I mean, they were on the field before it was all even over.
They were inching closer from the time the fourth quarter started, like just ever so slightly through overtime. As soon as that last play got picked, I mean, you couldn't see the field anymore.
Bobby, have you ever stormed a field? Did you ever get through that? You never did that in your tenure? Illinois didn't really have that kind of caliber in their bag back in the day when you were in the old Illini stomping ground. Evan, you probably got 2 field storms under your belt?
I got 2. I got Michigan from 2016, Ohio State from the next year. And then when I was there for Penn State in 21 and Minnesota. We stormed against Minnesota in 19, but I didn't. Yeah. I'm not doing that against Minnesota. Yeah. I don't care how highly ranked you are.
No.
That's just, you got to have some self-respect.
I will say Illinois did storm this weekend, and it just seems to be a thing where maybe they've just were so bad for so long, but they storm after any even decent win. And
okay.
I used to be against it, but now to me, it's just college kids having fun. That's what it's all about.
If everyone stays safe during it,
Yeah.
like that's all that really matters. It's hard
And-
to keep that though. I feel like something bad will eventually happen.
Yeah. I would say too, like it kind of depends how the game is going also. Like if they just kick the crap out of USC, maybe they
Then
don't, but
maybe,
yeah,
much slower burn.
the way it was on the final moment, like it's just kind of spontaneous. I get it.
So let's roll quickly into Bama, Georgia, and then let's get into Week 6. Any last takes on Bama, Georgia?
Nothing but the Tide, baby. Don't give a pass about nothing but the Tide.
A screen pass that is quite legendary that you guys want to talk over?
I would say screen pass wise, so it was almost like just a death gut punch, I would say. Iowa, right before they missed that kick in the Indiana game, they missed a pretty wide open screen pass that looked like it had a chance to go quite a ways. And then you flip the TV on later, and you're I don't know how big he is. He's probably 400-pound offensive lineman that
I think 6'8", 375 or something was what
Yeah.
I saw.
Hackle on the left side. They're going to throw it to him. Big fella. Barreling downhill. Proctor muscling down near the pylon.
from Iowa, decommitted to Iowa twice. You guys know the whole story with him. I gotta admit, man, it was awesome to watch. Like he's just no one can take him down. He's throwing little guys off of him. But it wasn't
just
a bit of a
it
gut
wasn't
punch.
just a short dive. It was like he rumbled, like he got it
He
going.
was, and he should have scored. I mean, he was close. Yeah, but
That was like 10-year-old me, make a player in Madden, and you just make him the biggest, heaviest player you can, and do that exact same thing.
And it reminds me a lot of like Dan Campbell, just like, how disrespectful can we be on one play? And they did it right there to their rival.
I think there's a high school team in California that had like a running back quarterback combo that total like 550 pounds or something like that. So it's the same vibe. Start feeding the big man. It's not really like you can do much if they get ahead of the, they've been doing it for years, but I like everyone likes to see the big man get involved. All right, let's roll into Week 6. Not quite as exciting, but college football is always exciting. So, one of the ones you guys called out, Nebraska, Michigan State. What are we? Two good quarterbacks going at it. Their teams haven't really shaped up the way, especially in Nebraska. Maybe Nebraska always has high hopes, and here they are. So,
you say that, but they are 3-1 and lost a close game to Michigan. So they really are right back in it.
Yeah, well, we'll see how long that lasts for. I just don't, we'll see how Nebraska fans shape up. You're right. I mean, it's early. They lost to a good team. I'm just being pessimistic for the rest of the time, as I am pessimistic on Penn State.
Your brain.
You're enjoying your day, everything's going your way, then along comes Debbie Downer.
Yeah, and it's I was actually surprised to see them as a 10.5-point favorite. I think Michigan State's a better team than you think. I mean, they had an outside shot against USC, and when did they have to kick that game off at like 11 p.m. their time? So I think they have a shot. I like Aiden Childs quite a bit. Nebraska's going to be pretty juiced up though, especially after a bye week and losing to Michigan not too long ago. But yeah, I was expecting to see a little bit tighter spread because I think it will be a tight game personally.
I did see a lot of the early monies on Michigan State, so
could shift a little bit.
Based on that, I think I might lean towards Nebraska to even cover that 10.5, 11.5.
I'll eat crow here a little bit, Robbie. As I'm looking at their schedule, they have a cakewalk.
It's not so bad.
Minus their last two games So their next games are Michigan State, Maryland, which, Maryland's not bad. I could see them knocking them off. But then Minnesota, Northwestern, USC, UCLA. I mean, you're not going to duck
that's
anyone.
about as easy as it gets.
Yeah, for the Big Ten, you're not. What else are you going to do? And then you got Penn State, which you're going to drop in Happy Valley. And then you got Iowa to finish it all out. So I don't know. I mean, I think if they could win their next 6 games. It's not crazy. The one that I don't know how did Maryland do this weekend?
They won.
I think they bye.
They played Wisconsin the week before too. So they play Washington. I'd like to see how that team. I thought they looked okay against Iowa. They have a bit of an offense there. They scored 27 on Wisconsin at Wisconsin. So, I could see them being the sneaky one in that mix to knock them off. But they're going to have some wins here that they can start stacking up, especially if they can use that home field advantage. But I still think they'll have another, their ceiling that they want to, or, what they really want is they're still very far off.
Well, they don't have the line on either side of the ball to really compete at that highest level, but they do have a good quarterback, and they have improved at some of the skill positions.
You just love them, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Evan, anything else you got on Michigan State, Nebraska?
I don't think so. I mean, both as our friend Mr. the Greek, I'm just excited to watch Captain Chaos play some football against fake Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, there you go. All right.
It will be a fun quarterback battle.
Yeah. Let it sling. Miami, Florida State. I feel like we've been blessed with just Florida football this year, and it just keeps getting better. What do you see the outcome for this game?
I find it really hard to pick against Miami. I feel like they finally have a complete team. It seems like they got a quarterback that has a lot of experience too. I just can't. I have to roll with them. I do think Florida State's gonna. I mean, they're gonna be as focused as possible, and they're gonna have an extra day of prep as well. But I mean, I can't pick against Miami. I think it sets up well for Florida State. I really do. Going back home,
it is that new renovated Doak Walker. They're going to be fired up.
They're going to be fired up, and you saw how that environment was for the Bama game and how that turned out. And that's looking like a better and better win every day. But I just can't pick against Miami yet, man. I think they could be one of the, 2-3 best teams in the country.
No, I mean, it's fun seeing, I love the state of Florida to go, hang out in. So it's kind of fun seeing all this Florida football. I'd rather see that than Texas football. So, it's a swampy area down there. It has some tradition, but I just like seeing, especially some of those teams that haven't been as good for a little while or just smaller. It's just fun seeing them come up. And I'm going to add this in post tense, but how many games does that stack up this year? That's got to be the 9th.
Inner Florida game, you mean?
Even USF has played 2 of those teams.
Yeah. I feel like we've gotten them all up front too.
Yeah. Yeah, they're all, and a lot of them are non-conference. So yeah, they've really squeezed them in. It's not like they're just, always on the schedule. They've had to fit them in here.
They need to just form their own conference, the Florida League. Let them just chop it up.
There. Scott Frost.
Get it. Yeah. UCF kind of got left out of the whole Florida round robin, didn't they? They did.
Now, Bobby, it sounds like you have a slate of games that you're excited for. I feel like when you're not farming right now, I feel like you're opening up the iPad and getting that DraftKings rolling and starting to find your itch. You had a big weekend though this weekend, Robbie. Tell them about the little parlay you hit.
Yeah, we did have the big Kahuna hit. I think it was close to plus 3,000. So it was good to hit on that one. And then I actually had a Friday night one as well that was successful. So pretty good weekend, and I'm sure I'll find a way to have a couple bad weekends in here to even it out. But no, I just start out with a quick preview of the Illinois game. Rivalry game against Purdue. Those are always close. I say that, but Purdue does have a slight edge all time and has won 15 out of the last 20. One fun Odom fact for Purdue is I heard before the season he has never beat any team he wasn't favored against, and he has never lost to any team that he was favored against. So I don't know how true that is. That was just a fun fact I heard, but looking at the slate, Clemson, North Carolina, that's just going to be hilarious. I don't know if anyone has a comment on that. But Texas, Florida, as critical as I've been against them, they do have a coach fighting for their job, and Texas has kind of looked to falter. But then
you don't want to cage somebody like that. Once you get their back against the wall, they might start getting a little scrappy.
True. Just to end on a couple fun ones, though. Washington, Maryland, that's a long travel game. Duke, Cal, another long travel game. And then I had to look up the drive from Lubbock, Texas to Houston, Texas for that game is 9 hours. So kind of a 9 hours matchup there.
Wow.
That's actually, I've been to both of those cities, and that's, that does actually make sense. It took me, I think it took me 13 hours from Austin to get out of Texas. So,
I just saw that on the schedule, and I was like, I gotta look up how far apart these
9-hour travel game interstate. So that's good.
I think that might be as close of a drive as Iowa to Oxford would have been.
I was thinking Iowa to Penn State.
Yeah, it's probably pretty similar actually. Yeah.
Fun fact for you guys: El Paso, Texas is closer to Orange, California than it is to Orange, Texas.
And I think it's closer to 4 other state capitals than the Texas one. So
there you go. That's actually, I like that one. That's good.
As I'm winding down, I do have one more quick thing to say though.
Let's hear it.
80% plus of the money is on Michigan, Ohio State, and Penn State this weekend. So just kind of something I'm eyeing there.
Jimmy can make a little quick coin. You got a lot of cash to invest, my friend.
Yes, sir.
Why stockpile it now? Keep it rolling.
What? Yeah.
I know.
Double it. Triple it. F-Dog, you got any grambling tips for us?
Years. Who started grambling? Who was the first big-time riverboat grambler? Who cares? Probably some hunk who said, want bets? What are you waiting for? Let's go gramble.
This weekend?
I've been doing decent, guys. I've been doing decent. This week is just so hard to read for me so far. I might have some epiphanies later in the week. But as of right now, I don't have anything. I do feel like Bama. We'll see how that line kind of moves throughout the week, but it's interesting. Kalen DeBoer is I think he's 6-1 against top 10 teams in his career, which is really good. He's anti James Franklin. But he trips up. He trips up against these teams. But this one, I don't know. I feel like getting them back in Tuscaloosa, especially after what happened last year. We'll see how that line changes. I bet a lot of the money is on Bama. But if it kind of stays around where it is, I might like that one quite a bit.
Real quick, I'm still keep on hammering the public most bet tickets. Keep hammering that. It's still positive. The other funny one, though, is I bet one of our good buddy Brett Schinkel's friends in the bar that the Chicago Bears were going to win the game. He's like, how do you know? I know this is a college football podcast, but he goes, how do you know they're going to win? I'm like, dude, you just got to keep the faith. And we won on a walk-off blocked field goal. So good chatting with you boys. Hell of a week. Let's run it back.
Do this?
Yes, I am.
All right, 2, 3, 4. Basketball, gimme the ball because I'm gonna dunk it!